So good morning everyone, my name is Lalit Soni and I welcome you all back in this live session by Drishti IAS. We'll have a look at today's newspaper, that is Indian Express. Since we could not upload a video or we could not come live yesterday, so that is why we will cover the important topics from yesterday as well. Okay, so let's start with the discussion. Let's take a look at the important article of the day. From yesterday we will cover few articles, okay, and of that this would be important, that is key aspect of article 370. You must have heard that Supreme Court has given their verdict and they have upheld the abrogation of article 370. okay, so we'll talk about that, what aspect they have covered, what were the legal issues and how they tackled it. Okay, after that government amends CEC bill. So Chief Election Commissioner related and the Election Commissioner related bills and their terms of services, etc. They have made some kind of amendments. They have earlier put forward a bill in the Parliament and now they have amended that particular bill. Okay, though the bills as per se are not important, but you should know the core issue about it. Okay, when a bill becomes an act, then we can say that it is important because then we will have a certainty of the provision of that particular act. Okay, but as of now, what is the issue related to this particular thing? We will talk about that. Mostly this would be regarding the appointments. Okay, and then you can say terms and condition of the service. Okay, after that PM Modi in GPAI summit. Okay, global partnership on artificial intelligence summit, which is held in New Delhi. Okay, so we'll talk about that, what PM has said and that address that particular summit, and we'll have a look at the Tokyo declaration here. Tokyo declaration here becomes important because in Tokyo this particular organization or this particular grouping has given some kind of you can say objective of that particular grouping. So we will talk about Tokyo declaration. We will not go into details of it, but I will tell you what this particular declaration is about. Okay, and because there are chances that UPSC might ask in simple words like let's say, what is this Montreal Protocol, what is Tokyo Declaration. So you must know that, you must have little idea what they relate to. Okay, then we look at the world affairs from the yesterday as well as today's newspaper. Okay, there were not much news when we are talking about world affairs, but I'll give you the passing references from the page itself. Okay, then practice questions. We'll have a look at the practice question given to you for your homework, and then we'll take today's practice question as well. Okay, so starting from the yesterday's newspaper, this article was in your explained section, and it becomes important when we are talking about your Indian polity or governance system or organ of the government, etc. Okay, then there were issues regarding the abrogation of article 370, 5th of August 2019. That is the date which is to be remembered because this was the day when Parliament abrogated article 370, which was related to the special status of Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, they abrogated it and then they divided the state into two union territories. Okay, Jammu and Kashmir is a union territory which will have a legislative assembly as well. Okay, in future there might be a chance that we will go for the full-fledged statehood. Okay, there are demands with respect to statehood. Okay, but the question here was that this abrogation of article 370, was it done with, you can say, was it constitutionally valid? Okay, so the question was about the legality of this particular step. Okay, so government has taken this step and then few petitioner has gone to the Supreme Court and said that this particular step was done, or you can say this abrogation of article 370 was done unconstitutionally. The kind of mechanism they have used, that was not constitutional. So now Supreme Court was about to actually scrutinize this particular step and give their verdict, which happened on the, you can say, yesterday, and then we will be discussing it. Challenges rejected. So their petition was rejected. Supreme Court upholds the removal of Jammu and Kashmir's special status in 5-0 verdict. That is your, you can say, it was a unanimous judgment. Okay, the full bench has given, the bench of 5 judges has given unanimous judgment. When we are talking about full judge bench, that is full number of judges which are generally sit in the constitutional bench. Okay, so There are many benches like one judge bench, two judge, three judge, and then after that there will be five judge. Okay, these are also considered as full judge benches. Okay, during president's rule, there may be hundreds of decisions that need to be taken to ensure day-to-day administration of the state. Okay, if every action was open to the challenge, this would bring to the court every person who disagreed with the action. So basically, in this particular judgment, or you can say there was one legal issue related to president's rule, because this particular act was performed during president's rule. They have said that the intention behind all these things and that act was unconstitutional. That is why here they have mentioned this, that if every action taken by president during the president rule, if that goes for the scrutiny, every person who is somehow disagreed with the judgment can go to Supreme Court. So that is why that cannot be done. Okay, there are certain grounds on which only president's action during president rule will be considered, that is, you can say malified intention, etc. Okay. Now the purpose of Article 370 was to slowly bring Jammu and Kashmir on par with other states. The requirement of the recommendation from the Constituent Assembly cannot be read in a manner as to make reference to the larger intention of the provisional redundant. Okay, so basically here they are talking about that Article 370, which was the special status to Jammu and Kashmir, that was given to them to create a link, or you can say ultimately to bring Jammu and Kashmir state as at par with the other states. Okay, so technically they are saying that this status was not permanent. Okay, so that was about this. Now let's start with the article, or we will have a look at the key aspects of the 370. Okay, here in this article there was this issue, as I told you, related to the constitutional validity of the 370. Let's have a look at the this article here. Okay, Supreme Court upheld the abrogation. Okay, they have said that the article was temporary in nature. Okay, the ultimate aim was to bring Jammu and Kashmir into the mainstream states. Okay, at par with the mainstream state. So basically, they are saying that the special status of Jammu and Kashmir was temporary. It was actually given because when the situation, when the instrument of accession was signed by the Maharaja there, the situation was that there were some tribal attack on the kingdom. Okay. So to India, Maharaja sought help from India, and then India said that if we want to intervene, we should sign this instrument of accession, because until unless you are part of India, we cannot help you. Okay, so that is why that instrument of accession was signed. Okay, but the Constituent Assembly of that particular state was to be established at that point of time. So ultimately, we have given this Article 370 as a bridge. Okay, as a bridge between Indian Constitution or the laws which are implemented in India and the Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, but then the Constituent Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir was to perform certain acts, and then we will slowly abrogate this article. Okay, that was the aim behind it, that it should act as a bridge between the country and the newly entered state. Okay, there was incidents when the statehood has been granted in various phases. Like when we are talking about Sikkim, it was an associate state first, and then it was given full-fledged statehood. So basically, here also you can say that there was the different phases. That first phase was the instrument of accession. Okay, and after that second phase was when this particular article was totally removed. Even when we are talking about special status, they have their own constitution, and in that particular constitution also it was mentioned that Jammu and Kashmir was integral part of India and is integral part of India. Okay, so the thing is, Article 1 of that particular Article 3, sorry, Section 3. There are difference in terminologies. Section 3 of Constitution of Jammu and Kashmir said that Jammu and Kashmir is integral part of India. Okay, and there was another article or section which says that that particular section cannot be amended. Okay, so ultimately, even in their own constitution, it was recognized that Jammu and Kashmir is integral part of India and cannot be changed. Okay, so ultimately this status has to go sooner or later. Okay, now let's come. What were the issues here? On the sovereignty of Jammu and Kashmir, they have said that removal of Article 370 is attack on the sovereignty of the state. Okay, but the thing is, here petitioner said that Jammu and Kashmir retained an element of sovereignty when it joined the Indian Union in 1947. Okay, they are saying that it has its own sovereignty. Okay, but now there are evidences which says that there was no sovereignty of its own. No doubt there was a special status which given them a power to have their own constitution, but there was no added sovereignty to it. Okay. So now they have said that Article 1 of India says that Jammu and Kashmir is integral part of India, and India is basically, you can say, a union of states, and in the name of states Jammu and Kashmir was also mentioned. One thing. Second thing is, as I told you, this section 3 of Jammu and Kashmir's constitution says that Jammu and Kashmir is integral part of India. So basically, when it is integral part of India, there is no sovereignty of its own. Okay, because in India we don't have sovereignty of states, we have Indian states Indian nation sovereignty. Okay, so that was the second thing, Article 1 and then section 3 of the Jammu and Kashmir's constitution. And then there was section 145. This particular section says that you cannot amend this particular section. Section 147 says that any Jammu and Kashmir Constituent Assembly or the Legislative Assembly at any point of time cannot amend section 3 of the Jammu and Kashmir Constitution that says that Jammu and Kashmir is integral part of India. Okay, so here it is clear that there was no sovereignty of that particular state. Okay, or added sovereignty to that particular state. Okay, there was, other than that, there was one more thing. That the Yuvraj of that particular kingdom has signed a proclamation, and in that proclamation also they have mentioned that there is no extra sovereignty, or you can say there is no state sovereignty, but it is part of India, and Indian state holds the power over this particular state as well. Okay, so these were the 4 arguments which has Supreme Court, or you can say these were the 4 considerations which have taken by the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court said that there is no sovereignty of that particular state, the sovereignty is of Indian nation. Okay. Then on whether Article 370 is temporary or permanent, as I told you that it was enacted as a bridge between Jammu and Kashmir and Indian constitution. Okay, so ultimately it was not permanent in nature, it was it was in the implementation for the time being, when you can say after the instrument of accession, until the Constituent Assembly is built, and then accordingly this particular thing was to be removed later. Okay, so the nature of this particular article was temporary in nature. Okay, so that is another thing. Here the petitioner argued that the provision could not be abrogated since it had attained the permanence. Okay, because their argument was that whenever we are talking about the amendment to the Constitution of Jammu and Kashmir, they said that only Constituent Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir can do that. Okay, after making this constitution, that Constituent Assembly was dissolved. Okay, so since there is no Constituent Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir, so you cannot take away, or there was one thing that if you are to take away this article, the consent of Constituent Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir is required, and there is no Constituent Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir, so there is no consent of that assembly, and that is why you cannot remove this particular article. Okay, that was the argument put forward by the petitioners. Okay, now the court has said that since it was a temporary in nature, and no constitutional means existed, this I have explained. Here it cannot be said that the mechanism under Article 370 clause 3 come to an end. Okay, in the Article 370 clause 3 there was some certain power given to the president. President can apply certain laws to Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, they have said that since there is no, and with the consent of Constituent Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir, but they have said that since Article 370's one particular section has gone, okay, there is no Constituent Assembly, but the thing is president still has power. Okay, so that is why this particular thing what you are saying that there is a permanence, it is not true. Second thing is we have already established that it was a bridge between the Jammu and Kashmir and India, that is why it does not have any kind of permanent nature. Okay, there was needed a legal bridge between Jammu and Kashmir and India once the Jammu and Kashmir constitution was enacted and it was adopted to be a part of India. This arrangement would not have been necessary. Okay, so they have said that once Constituent Assembly adopt this resolution, or you can say provision that Jammu and Kashmir has officially been integrated with India, after that this particular article was not necessary. So you can here say that it was temporary in nature. Okay. Now third issue was on the legality of the abrogation. This was the main issue, that they have said that the way it is done was unconstitutional. I'll tell you how it was done. Okay. So since there is no constituent assembly of Jammu and Kashmir, okay, but we have to abrogate this, government has to abrogate this particular article, so they have interpreted the constitution in a particular way. Okay. So there is you can say article 367. Article 367 basically gives power to interpret the constitution. Okay. With respect to that, they have actually said made some changes through presidential order. Okay. In that first presidential order, what they said was that the interpretation of the word, that is Constituent Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir, can be replaced with the, or you can be taken as Legislative Assembly of the Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, that was the first thing they have done. They have replaced the they interpreted the word Constituent Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir as Legislative Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, when we are talking about Parliament also has the amending powers. Okay, so Parliament is not when Parliament is amending the Constitution, it is acting as a Constituent Assembly. Okay, so here also they have said that we can interpret it in that light. Okay, so that was the first thing. Second thing was, at that particular point of time when it was to be done, President's rule was in place. Okay, so when in any state, when there is a President rule ongoing, at that particular point of time, legislative power of that particular state comes in the hand of President, and President has to take consent of the Parliament afterwards. Okay, so that was, so what President did was, President passed another order abrogating this article and took the consent of Parliament. Okay, so in that way we can say that constitutional procedure was followed. Okay, so we cannot say that it was unconstitutional. Here Supreme Court has said another thing, that the first order which was passed under Article 367 where interpretation was taken, that was not even necessary, because the thing is Article 370 clause 3. Article 370 clause 3 gives power to President, and President has that particular power. You don't have to interpret it in that light, but the thing is it already has the power. So anyway, whatever they have done, it was constitutionally valid. Okay, so that was the third thing which was addressed in this particular judgment. Okay, then there was on the action which was taken under the President's rule. They have said that the whatever actions that were taken in the President's rule, that the abrogation, here we can read that Union took irrevocative action without the state's consent when it was under President's rule. Okay, extent of power that can be appropriated when Article 356 is in operation. Okay, so they are saying that they did not take the consent of the state. Okay, but you know that consent of the state was not required because there was no legislative assembly at that particular point of time, and then consent of Parliament was taken, because all the legislative power of that particular states come to the President and hence Parliament when there is a President's rule. Okay, and second thing is the judicial review of any action taken during the President's rule can be taken on the you can say can be taken only when there is some kind of intention, malified intention attached to it. Okay, every action during President's rule cannot be questioned under judicial review, because in that way there would be administrative jam. Okay, because all the powers of administration are with the President, and if you are going for the judicial review for the every action President takes, you can say that there will be a administrative jam. Okay, so that is why here they have taken the reference of SR Bommai case. It is very famous case when we are talking about federalism in India. Okay, and there are many other attached interpretation in this particular case. So I would suggest that you go and have a read of important pointers from this particular case. Okay, so there were 4 things which were questioned in this particular issue, and we have discussed all the 4 things. Okay, so let's have a look at the summary. Here you can see Sovereignty of state, the question on the sovereignty was raised. We have discussed Article 1 of the Indian Constitution, Section 3 of the Jammu and Kashmir Constitution, Section 147 of the Jammu and Kashmir Constitution. What is related to, that is Jammu and Kashmir is integral part, that is Section 3 of the Jammu and Kashmir Constitution, and then Section 147 of the Jammu and Kashmir Constitution says that it prohibited any amendment to the Section 3. Okay, you have to remember these three sections or the provisions because they can be important for your prelims. Okay, they can give some kind of statement on also. Okay, then we have discussed the permanence of the Article 370. They said it is not permanent. Okay, because it was temporary in nature. It was to act as a bridge. Okay, till the provision, or you can say a bill was adopted by the Constituent Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir to formally accept the sovereignty of Indian nation. Okay, legality of the action taken under the president's rule. As I told you that the procedural aspect of the constitution was followed. Okay, so this was also correct. And then Karan Singh's proclamation, as I told you, the Yuvraj of the kingdom has proclaimed and they said that they have accepted the you can say sovereignty of Indian nation. Okay, so in all aspects we have covered that. Okay, that much is important. That would be enough for your exam point of view. And then what is the significance of this particular action which has been taken, that abrogation of Article 370? Now, as I told you that that particular state had some kind of special status, because of which there were some problems attached to it. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, now that this has been abrogated and it has been made a union territory, so center has direct control over that particular state. Now, Jammu and Kashmir is strategically important as well, because there are some issues related to POK which has been illegally occupied by Pakistan. Okay, now that we have abrogated this article, there are chances that next step would be to do something about POK. There are chances that we might go for the retaining the control of that particular area. Okay, because this area belongs to India, there is no doubt regarding that. Pakistan has illegally occupied it. Okay, so now there can be a chance that we will think about POK as well. Okay, because central has direct control in the area. Then there was this area related to Aksai chain. Okay, you know that after this abrogation of Article 370, there was issues related to Galwan, then the Pangong Tso Lake, etc. Because Chinese army, or you can say PLA, is doing some kind of aggression in that particular area, because obviously after the abrogation of this article, they have also been concerned about this region. This region also belongs to India, which is illegally been occupied by China, or you can say Pakistan has given it to China. Okay, so that is second thing. So we can do something about the territorial integrity in this region. Okay, we can claim that particular areas back. Or other than that also, when we are talking about Aksai chain, that particular issue has been in news for a while, and that is having some kind of security concerns as well. Okay, so deployment of troops, etc., these all things kind of can be very easy if we build some kind of infrastructure in the region. Okay, with the direct control of the central government, the infrastructure building can be very easy in that area. Okay, then insurgency in that region has been always in the news. And second thing is this step can give direct message to the insurgents that you should go for the no activity in that region, because obviously you know that we have gone for the surgical strike in the past. Okay, such activities can be improved. Other than that, when we are talking about the insurgency in Jammu and Kashmir, for a long time there was a peace in that particular area. Recently there has been some incidents, but again we would say when we are comparing to the past, these activities has been decreased. Okay, second thing is, other than that, Jammu and Kashmir also we can recently talk about this Khalistani separatist, which has been in news. This particular thing can give a message to them as well. Okay, or any other insurgent which are basically thinking about any kind of separatist activities. Okay, this is the message for them that we are not letting it go. Okay, third thing is development. Obviously when any area is in peace, there would be development, okay, there would be economic activities, there would be entertainment activities, okay. This can generate employment, okay. So that is significant in that way as well. Message to other separatist elements, okay, as I mentioned in the insurgency part, okay. So from your developmental point of view, economic point of view, political point of view, as well as the security point of view, this step was kind of very important. So you can have a look at this and prepare an answer regarding this. Moving forward, from the yesterday's world page, there was nothing much to discuss. Israel says prepared for the longer fight, and UN flags Gazan exiled to Egypt. So basically here they are saying that they will be fighting for a longer period of time, and there are issues related to the civilians over there and displacement, okay. Nothing important given in this article. Other than that, there was this UN assembly vote on the ceasefire, okay. So UNSC resolution was to be tabled, which was tabled, and then it was not passed because of the USA's veto, okay. So now they have gone for the General Assembly, okay. No doubt the you can say powers are limited in the General Assembly. This particular resolution, even if passed in General Assembly, is not having any kind of legal binding nature. So that is why it can only be a moral pressure, okay, nothing else. Australia to have migrant intake, plans to tighten student visa. Recently you must have seen that earlier when we were in the Trump era, USA has also gone for the restriction on the visas. And then when we are talking about recently, UK has also announced something like that. They have said that all the illegal immigrants will be sent to the Rwanda, okay. Other than that, now Australia is saying that similar thing, that they are trying to halve their migrant intake, okay. After COVID, or you can say post COVID, they have taken some intake of the laborers because their economy was not doing good, and there was a requirement or the demand of the labor. That is why they have took intake, and now they are saying that we will be reducing the migrant intake, okay. So you can say that world over there are some tendencies where countries, developed countries, are looking inward now, okay, and they are not taking migrants anymore, okay. So that is from the yesterday's world page. Now let's have a look at the economy related topic, that was Ujjwala scheme, okay. There was nothing much, but the thing is there was a mention of this particular scheme in the newspaper. That is why I have taken this, because obviously if this is the flagship scheme of central, that is why that is important. The average per capita consumption of cooking gas under Ujjwala or Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana is improved to 3.8 cylinder refills on an annual basis. Earlier it was somewhere around 3.01 and then 3.71, okay. So basically you don't have to remember data, you just have to remember that the per capita refill of the cylinder has increased. So you can say that this scheme is doing fine when we are talking about the consumption level, okay. Now let's talk about the Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana, okay. I'll give you a small introduction. That Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas has introduced it. Obviously when it is about energy, so Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas would be involved. A flagship scheme with the objective of making clean cooking fuel such as LPG available to the rural and deprived households which were earlier using cow dung or the traditional you can say sources of energy, that like wood, etc., okay. Here firewood, coal, cow dung, etc., okay. So that is why to replace these traditional sources of energy, we have come up with the Ujjwala Yojana, wherein we will be going for the clean cooking fuel, okay. Why is that? Because this particular traditional sources are having some kind of detrimental impact on the environment as well as the health of the woman. Most of the times you can say that in the rural areas, when we are talking about cooking related activities, women are mostly taking taking a, you can say, looking into all these things, okay. I'm not saying that that is any kind of stereotype or something, but the thing is that is a social reality as of now, okay. So to empower such women, we have come up with this particular scheme, that if they are given some kind of clean energy, their health would be improved, and they can contribute more towards, let's say, even if they are involved in the agriculture or any kind of economic activity outside their home. Okay, so there are certain objectives attached to it. We'll discuss. Use of traditional cooking fuel had detrimental impact on the health of rural women as well as on the environment. Empowering women and protecting their health, that is the objective of this particular scheme. Reducing the number of deaths in India due to the unclean cooking fuel. Okay, preventing young children from significant number of acute respiratory illnesses. Okay, caused due to the indoor air pollution by burning fossil fuels, or you can say traditional source of this fuel. Okay, so that is about PM Ujjwala. Moving forward, let's take a look at the today's newspaper, because major chunk of today's discussion was related to article 370. Now let's have a look at the today's newspaper. This pact elusive amid deep division on the fossil fuel phase out. Okay, there was some kind of draft which has come out, but the details of the drafts are not yet to be discussed, because obviously there would be some kind of change. So we will track this particular development, but as of now you can say there is a division when we are talking about phasing out the fossil fuel, because most of the countries, or you can say developing countries like India and China, are kind of not yet ready to let it go. Second thing is, all the countries which are oil producing, like let's say Saudi or Russia, they are also having some kind of speculations, or they are skeptical about phasing out fossil fuel. Okay, so there is no consensus about it, so that is why we will not go into details of it yet, but after the summit is been ended, when we will see some concrete developments, we will talk about that. Okay, now President Biden not coming for the Republic Day, Quad said to be deferred. Okay, so basically the President Biden was invited in this summit, Republic Day celebration. We do that most of the time. We invite some guests, okay, from world over, but now he is not coming, because there are some other engagements domestically, you can say. Other than that, all the other Quad members, okay, Australia is busy because of their own national day, and then there are when we are talking about Japan has their parliament in session, so that is why they are also not coming. So the thing is, this is because of the time constraint, or the already prior engagements are there. Okay, official from the oversight has said that this should not be seen in otherwise. Okay, but you can say that recently there are Quad countries are going for the some kind of dialogue with China as well. Okay, so we can say that there is some kind of change which is visible. Okay, no doubt it is not concrete yet. Okay, and second thing is, this issue between USA and India related to that spy activities and that involvement in the conspiracy of the killing of that separatist Pannu. Okay, so that can also be a reason, but the thing is, officials are saying that that is not a reason, so we will not think about that. Okay, so and then after protest, government amends, get EC on the par with Supreme Court judges. Okay, so let's see this particular thing. After protest, government amends the bills which has been placed earlier. This bill was placed in front of Parliament, which was to reduce the status of election commissioner to the cabinet secretaries, but now they have amended back the bill, and they have said that they will be on the par with the Supreme Court judges, which was earlier the case. Okay, amendment which sought to retain the status of election commissioner on par with the Supreme Court judges. Okay, earlier there was this bill which has sought to downgrade their salaries, perks and allowances along aligning with those of the cabinet secretaries. Okay, so they have changed that particular stand now, and this status will prevail. Okay, the bill along with the amendments was discussed and passed by the voice vote in the Rajya Sabha. It is yet to be introduced in the Lok Sabha. Okay, there are other aspects to this particular bill. When we are talking about it, you can say retain the status of EC on the par with Supreme Court judge, which I just discussed, and then regulate selection process. Okay, so whatever existing law we have, there was no you can say there was some kind of shortcoming in that particular law. 1991 there was a law which says that president will appoint ECs or CECs on the recommendation of the government. Okay, but then Supreme Court has given order recently that there should be a select committee, and in that select committee there would be a prime minister, leader of opposition, in Lok Sabha, and then there should be a or you can say CGI or Supreme Court judge. Okay, that this was to be a select committee. Now the proposed bill says that CGI has been replaced with the cabinet minister. Now opposition has issues with that because they have replaced CGI, and they are saying that why you are replacing CGI, because Supreme Court has given this verdict or Supreme Court has given this order. Now government is saying that Supreme Court has given that order and it was temporary in nature, because they have said that till the time Parliament enacts a law which provides for a select committee, okay, till then this should be the case. Okay, PM, leader of opposition, and then CGI. Okay. Now that we are going for enactment of the law, we don't need CGI because that is the legislative activity. Okay. Now they have gone with the, you can say, cabinet minister, because that is the executive activity, and they have gone with the cabinet minister here. Okay. Now selection committee, which is being proposed by this bill, is PM, leader of opposition in Lok Sabha, or you can say leader of the largest party in opposition. Okay, if there is no leader of opposition, as the current case is, and then cabinet minister, which is to be nominated by the prime minister. Okay, so now issue is that opposition is saying that this particular body would be dominated by the government. Okay, the ruling government, or it will advantage the ruling government. Okay, then there is a provision of search committee. Okay, search committee under law minister. Earlier this committee was to be under cabinet secretary, but now it would be under law minister. This search committee will recommend the names of eligible candidates to the selection committee, and selection committee will decide accordingly. Okay, selection committee can go beyond those names as well. Okay, and then they have introduced a clause protecting the actions of CEC and ECs. Okay, they have provided for a clause that says that if any action being taken by these ECs and CEC, that would not be under judicial scrutiny. Let's have a look, or you can say that simply they have provided some kind of scrutiny. Okay, hold on a second. So here amendment added a new clause that would provide protection to CEC and ECs for action taken while in office. Okay, notwithstanding anything contained in any other law, no court shall entertain or continue any civil or criminal proceeding against any person who is or was a chief election commissioner or an election commissioner for any act, things, word committed, done and spoken by him when or in course of acting or purporting to act in the discharge of his duties or functions. Okay, so basically they are saying that whenever a EC or CEC is doing anything or acting in a official capacity, all those acts should not be questioned in the law, or be it civil or criminal at that particular point of time. So okay, so we have discussed this article. Okay, there are certain changes which has made in the bill. We will not think remember all these things yet, because obviously when the act comes there will be some kind of changes. Okay, for now just know that there is issues related to the selection, or you can say appointment process or the selection process. Supreme Court has said something, and they have made a change that they have replaced CGI with the cabinet minister. Okay, and then there is the search committee, and then clause protecting the, or even providing the immunity to ECs and CECs. Okay, so that is about this article. Now we can move forward. Lok Sabha clears two bill extending women's quota to Puducherry and Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, so these are the two you can say UTs which have legislative assembly along with Delhi. Okay, so now they have given some reservation, or you can say quota, to the women in these two legislative assemblies. Okay, in this discussion in the parliament, this happened in the parliament, they have mentioned few things related to that Ram temple, Ram Mandir, or then repeal of article 370 and UCC. All these issues has been raised by opposition. Okay, and Home Minister has answered that all these things are not important, but the thing here you can say that as an aspirant you have to take a stand. which has been taken by the Supreme Court in this case. When we are talking about Ram Temple, Supreme Court has given the verdict, okay, and we have all faith in that. Second thing is repeal of Article 370. I have discussed all the constitutional or legal points with respect to that, and government was right in doing so, okay. They have followed the constitutional provisions, okay. Now UCC is part of the constitution itself, okay. DPSP provides for the UCC. So our stand when you are writing an answer, okay, should be in line with that, okay. Now discuss this. Lok Sabha passed two bills that seeks to extend the provision of women's reservation law to Legislative Assembly of Union Territories of Puducherry and Jammu and Kashmir. Jammu and Kashmir Review Organization's Second Amendment Bill and the Government of Union Territories Amendment Bill in Lok Sabha. The two bills seeks to enable greater representation and participation of women in the public representative in law making process in the Legislative Assembly of the Puducherry and Jammu and Kashmir. So basically what we are doing is we are empowering women here, we are giving them their you can say their right here. This is about socio-economic right, okay. So now they are giving them a civil or political rights as well. To go for a wider representation, okay, we should have certain, you can say, affirmative actions, okay. So you can see this in line with the affirmative action, okay. Now when we are talking about the past, be it Mughal era or reign of aggressors, the British rule or the Congress government, women's rights were snatched. They were never given adequate opportunity to grow, and injustice was meted out of them, okay. That was the statement which has been made by a parliament, member of parliament, okay. So that is about this, that is a passing reference to this article, because you can just simply say that you can use it as an example in your answers, okay. Now calling for caution, PM flags need for ethics and democratic values in AI, okay. So there was this summit, a global partnership on artificial intelligence summit 2023 that has happened in the New Delhi, okay. India is founding member and there are some 28 members in this grouping, okay. So that is important, that India is a founding member and there are 28 members in this grouping, okay. So when we are talking about this article, in the 21st century, the biggest development tool, AI is the biggest development tool, as well as it has the potential of distractions. That are the words of Prime Minister Modi in this particular summit. Mr. Modi has called for a global framework that will provide guide rails and make it more useful and more responsible, okay. Now the thing is, there are concerns related to deep fakes, etc. Considering that Mr. Modi has made some statements like that. Other than that, they have said that Modi advised the need to exercise extreme caution in deployment of AI. AI will impact the current and the future generations. We should move forward with the utmost caution, okay. So such a statement, you can see the kind of impact it will have on the future generation as well as our generation. So AI, use of AI should be regulated, okay. It should not be unchecked, okay. Then AI is transformative, but we should make it more transparent. Database and algorithm free from bias will be a good start, okay. So all such things are given in this article. You can read it, or you can take few lines which you like, okay. PM has flagged deepfake, cyber security, cyber terrorism as a concern that can be faced by the unchecked use of AI, because if you see any kind of terrorist activity happens, or any kind of terrorist organization gain an access to a technology which is or any weapon which is being used with the AI, or that is been you can say made in a such a way that AI can directly, with the use of AI, they can directly use that weaponry, okay. So that can be detrimental for the national security as well, okay. So that is why they have said that there should be some kind of regulation. Second is there should be some kind of ethics, okay, because when we are talking about the technologies which we have used in the previous decades, so those technologies has given some kind of given rise to some kind of inequality in the society as well, because there are sections of haves and have nots, okay. So now when we are going with this new technology, that should not be the case. That technology should be made or developed in such a way that is inclusive, okay. Now they have said that there should be an audit mechanism to categorize all the AI tools in red, yellow and green categories, okay, at the basis of their risk or the capabilities, okay. If terrorist organizations have AI enabled weapon, it will have a big impact on the global security, okay. the first to evaluate the use of AI in the sustainable agriculture. So basically, India has advocated for the use of AI in the sustainable agriculture, as well as they have said that there should be, you know, collaboration, or okay, or you can say they have said that there should be a collaborative AI in line with the digital public infrastructure. Whatever digital public infrastructure we are using, there should be, you can say, collaboration with the AI, so that those systems can be made more efficient. Okay, here you can see DPI approach with AI, where it aims to build underlying systems, both databases and the compute capacity for facilitation in the spread of AI. So basically, here what they are trying to say is that they are trying to make an have an integrated approach, wherein the it is an approach in the country has taken in the biometric identity programs, Aadhaar, and payment solutions, and UPI. Okay, so such applications, or you can say digital public infrastructure, which India is trying to build, they have been coupled with the AI. Okay, so that is called DPI approach with collaboration, integration of AI. Okay, India will soon launch a AI mission to establish AI computing power for startups and innovators. Okay, under this, AI application in sectors like agriculture, health, education will be promoted. Okay, so we are to go for some kind of AI mission, national AI mission, maybe in the future we will see. Okay, here objective is to take AI skills to tier 2 and tier 3 countries. Okay, and then when we are talking about this Tokyo Declaration, a minister's declaration was signed in Tokyo last year when Japan was hosting the summit. The Tokyo Declaration opposed unlawful and irresponsible use of AI and other technologies. So this becomes important for you. As I told you in the introduction only, that we will discuss this Tokyo Declaration. Here you can say that it is related to, you know, it opposes the unlawful and unauthorized use of irresponsible use of AI and other emerging technologies. Okay, so that is about Tokyo Declaration. That would be important for your exam. Okay, here you can see I have a crux. Prime Minister Narendra Modi highlighted the dual potential of AI, that is developmental as well as of destruction. Concern raised includes deep fakes, cyber security, cyber terrorism due to unchecked developments. Okay, called for a global framework to ensure that responsible and cautious deployment of AI tools. Okay, responsible as well as cautious. India is seeking consensus among GPII members on a declaration focusing on responsible AI use, guide rails for the technology, and its democratization. Okay, here they are talking about democratization, that all the stakeholders should be involved in that particular process. Okay, the two key aspects of India's stand, as I told you, India has given a focus on the sustainable agriculture and the collaborative AI, aligning its digital public infrastructure approach. Okay, India has planned to launch AI mission. There should be ethical use of AI that should guide the global framework, including the protocols and around the high risk AI system. They have said that there should be division in different color coding should be there, that yellow, green, red. Okay, on the basis of the risk, there should be a protocol. Okay, based on the emergency situations, there should be protocol in place. Then when we are supposed to do what. Okay, Modi emphasized the importance of AI's ethical use, connecting people, and its potential use for the economic growth, equality, and social justice. Obviously, this is a generic statement which you can write in your answers. Okay, now suggestions are made to increase AI generated information credibility. Whatever information which is generated by AI, we are trying to make sure that that is more and more credible. Okay, use of AI for evidence based decision making. Okay, so that can relieve some kind of pressure. If there are evidence on the basis of which if AI can take a decision, you can go for it. Okay, language revival and the cultural preservation. So we can use these AI tools when we are talking about, let's say, some old languages like Sanskrit. Okay, which are kind of trying hard to survive now. Okay, so such languages like Sanskrit or any regional language, let's say Marwari or Maithili. So we can produce some kind of database or some kind of literature on AI. Okay, and we can make sure that these languages survive. Okay, and some cultural preservation as well. Okay, so that is about AI and this particular summit. Okay, one more thing when we are talking about AI here, European Union has made a draft regulation, you can say, and which has been made by the consensus of all the nations from this particular organization. So European Union is the first you can say organization which has gone for some kind of AI regulation. Okay. Moving further, in the world affairs, there is nothing much. There is a terror attack in Pakistan. Okay, there are reports that are saying that that has been done by Tehreek-e-Jihad Pakistan. That is some kind of organization which is affiliated with the Taliban. Okay, Taliban is you can say a child of America's thinking, America's brain, and then Pakistan was involved in that particular process as well. And now that particular organization, or you can say Taliban, is now attacking on Pakistan itself. Okay, so that is one thing. Second, here you can say with respect to Israel, as I told you, there should be this voting. UN General Assembly appeared to set to demand on Tuesday on an immediate humanitarian ceasefire in the 2-month-long conflict after United States voted such a move in the Security Council. As I told you, in Security Council it was not passed. That is why they have gone for the UN General Assembly. No country has a veto power in 193 members General Assembly, and General Assembly resolutions are not binding in nature but carry a political weight, or you can say a moral weight only. Okay, we have discussed that. So now let's see the practice questions. Which statement accurately described the location of Rwanda? Okay, as I told you that UK is trying to settle their migrants in Rwanda now, and they have given some kind of money to it. Okay, so now Rwanda is landlocked country in East Africa. That statement is correct. Okay, it shared the borders with the Uganda, Tanzania, Democratic Republic of Congo. That statement is also correct. Okay, Lake Kivu forms part of Rwanda's western border. That statement is also correct. We have seen it in the yesterday's day before yesterday. Rwanda is situated in the Horn of Africa region. That is incorrect because it is little bit southwards. Okay, so let's have a look at the map again. Here, as we discussed, that Rwanda is a landlocked country. Here you can see this is Rwanda, and it is landlocked from all the sides. Okay, this does not have any kind of connection with the international seas. Okay, then when we are talking about the boundary of Rwanda, there is this Lake Kivu. Okay, or here you can say this is Lake Kivu on the western border. So that is statement is also correct. And then there are countries like Uganda, Tanzania, Burundi, and DRC. Okay, so that statement is correct. Though there was not mention of Burundi, but the thing is there was no mention of word only, etc. So we can say that these three countries are there. Other than that, there is one more country, that is Burundi. Okay, that you can remember. Other than that, we have discussed the Lake Kivu here. Okay, other than that, I have told you that this Lake Victoria. Here you can say it is quite close here, but this does not found any kind of boundary with the Rwanda. And second thing is Rwanda is on the southern part of equator, okay, and not on the equator. So, and when we are talking of the Horn of Africa, this particular region here, this is the Horn of Africa, okay. So, and Rwanda is somewhere here, so you can say that it is not part of Horn of Africa. Here you can say which countries are part of it, okay. That is, there is Somalia, Ethiopia, Djibouti, Eritrea, and Kenya. So, and some part of Sudan as well. So, this particular area you can say is Horn of Africa. Okay. So, moving to the today's question, which you have to attempt. What were the objective of the objectives outlined in the Tokyo Declaration? Okay. A, emphasizing global cooperation for responsible AI development. B, advocating for a ban on AI in all technological advancements. C, promoting unrestricted AI proliferation in a warfare scenarios. D, limiting AI applications solely to developed nations. Okay, so these are your options. I have discussed this, so you can attempt this question and answer in the comment box. Okay, and then for mains, you can see what were the controversies surrounding the revocation of Article 370 in India. We have discussed there were 4 issues. Okay. Other than that, if you have any kind of issue, let's say social or cultural issue related to it, you can attach to it. Okay. Then there were these 4 controversies when we are talking about in legal and constitutional terms. Okay. So you can discuss those, and then discuss the significance of recent judgment of Supreme Court, or you can apex court, with respect to the development of the state in question and national integration. Okay. So if you want to attempt this question, you must have knowledge of Article 370, and you must have the knowledge of which state is in question here. Okay. Now that state has been converted into a UT, okay, and national integration, sorry. So you can give it a try. Also we have discussed the significance in today's lecture as well. Okay, other than that you can read from other sources and you can attach some value to it and make an note of this particular topic that will prepare one topic for your mains answer writing. Okay, so with that I would wrap up the session. I'll see you in the next session. Till then, have a good day. Thank you.